Being a fan of the original clock tower that came out in 1995, it was definitely disappointing that there was never an official release for it. Usually we were limited to fan translations. It was never actually released outside of Japan. And well, on October 29th, that all changed. We actually got an official release of the game in Clock Tower Rewind. And it's a little bit rough around the edges. There's a few things that need some ironing out. But overall, this is a good port of a classic hidden gem. And I'm really excited that we finally get to experience it on modern hardware. That intro is sick. I mean, that intro alone, I would say, is worth the price of admission. So right there, it asked me what edition I wanted to play. You can either choose Classic or Rewind. Rewind has the Rewind feature, but it also has the content from the First Fear edition, which is awesome because I had never actually played First Fear edition, so I was really excited to test it out. A neat addition that they added into this remaster is that you can actually stretch the image so it fills the entire screen, so you're no longer just limited to playing in the 4:3 ratio. A feature that they put emphasis on when they released this remaster was the ability to rewind, but honestly, I haven't really found it to be all that useful. It only rewinds maybe 10 seconds. I think it's even less actually, and it rarely ever comes in useful. This is the game's attempt at developing these razor thin characters, honestly. Annie and Laura, you really don't get to know too much about them. Lottie, you get a little bit of development depending on like what path you choose, but even then, it's razor thin though. Jennifer is the only one you actually get any sort of character growth with. The game definitely doesn't waste too much time in getting straight to the point. So here there's actually a random chance that a pair of eyes will be looking at you through that window right there. I actually didn't notice it until I played this remaster and stretched the image out. I'm like, oh my god, there's somebody looking at me. Here's where the first significant RNG comes into play. If you look in that shoebox, either there will be a key or there won't be a key. If it's not in the shoebox, it'll be up in a crow's nest later on. Next, we're going to head up to that door on top, and then in the next room, there's going to be some perfume we want to grab. It's right in the drawer right there. You can actually look at that picture that's on top of the dresser too. It actually shows a picture of the twins. And then we're going to go over here and say hi to Polly. He's actually not the nicest parrot in the world though, and you're going to find out why. So what we want to do here, as soon as we get past this ridiculously long, unskippable cutscene, is we want to grab this blanket and capture Polly. What this will do is this will make it so we can hide from Bobby Burrows later on. And now we're going to witness the first death in the game. The iconic music kicking in. The build up to this death was really well done. And we have our first Bobby chase sequence. The chase sequences on here aren't so much difficult. It's more about just finding a spot where to go where you can actually hide from Bobby or use a weapon on him. In the first Fear Edition, they actually make it so you have to encounter him at least one more time. Whereas in the original, a lot of times you would just encounter him here, and actually, usually most of the time, you'd actually never see him again. So I'm really happy that they changed that, so you have to encounter him at least one more time, because the game got a little bit boring if you didn't encounter him as much, because it just it felt like it was just a little too easy. So really welcome change. This is back when villains never thought to just simply look under a bed. Other horror games around this time, usually they featured some sort of action in them, like Alone in the Dark, and there was another one, Dr. Hauser, that's what it is. That one's a lot like the first Alone in the Dark, but either way, usually they offered some sort of combat system, whereas this is the first true hiding simulator that I remember seeing, and it was really well done too. Usually I'm not a huge fan of hiding simulators. It might just be maybe because it's a mixture of like point and click and adventure that really draws me into it, but I like it more than a lot of modern day hiding simulators. Here's where Anne discovers she can't fly. There's actually a random chance of that happening. If you're going for this run specifically and you don't hear the scream right there, you just want to restart then if you're going for this specific run. Going up these stairs are really tedious. Jennifer takes way too long to go up them. I wish for the remaster they would have sped it up more. I don't know if like the original developers intended for this to build up tension or not, but either way though, it definitely could have been done without. Almost there. It's like watching paint dry. So that door off to the left is going to have a few more key items that we need. We need the pesticide and then the black robe. I do pick up the rope here. I actually don't need it, but usually it's really just used as a getaway from Bobby, but I never actually had to use it though. Now, when you first try to climb over this, Jennifer can't get over it. You have to push a box up next to it. What's funny is when you have a panic situation, she'll actually run in here and then you have to mash the panic button, and then she'll get over it that way. Pretty much only when she's in danger, though. That's the only time you can actually get over it without the box. And then as soon as we get done in here, we're going to go grab the west wing key. It's right down at the end of the hallway from this door that we exit. The key's going to be in a bird's nest down here. You actually have to look at the bird's nest first before you can grab it, because you have to push that box that Jennifer just jumped over to it. And then we can grab it. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about the other spot where the key can spawn. The first one was in that box that we looked at earlier. This is actually the other spot. So now that we have the key, we're actually going to go to the other end of this building. The west side holds a dark secret that you're going to see here in just a few minutes. Before we do see the big dark secret, there's actually going to be a toy room we need to go to first. We need to grab a key there, and then there's also a toy we need to fight. It can be random depending on what the RNG chooses. The key's going to be right on the shelf right where Jennifer's standing at, right next to that clown doll. After we do grab it, one of two things will happen. Either that clown doll will come to life, or the kind of like upside down doll that you can see hanging from that chain will come to life. The one that's on the chain is easier to fight than the clown doll. The clown doll, you actually need some stamina. You'll notice I slouched down there for a second. And what that does is that replenishes Jennifer's stamina. And if you have basically no stamina, that clown doll can kill you in one shot. Again, the clown doll is the worst of the two, but as long as you at least have a little bit of stamina saved up and you're not right on empty, you should be fine though. The reason the upside down doll is easier is because you can actually run right past her and you don't even have to do a panic sequence like you did with the clown doll right there. This is the office where Anne was thrown out the window. We're actually going to go look at the window right here. Depending on what path you take, this is actually one of the ways you can escape Bobby. Is you can actually jump out this window and Jennifer will land in a pool that's below her. And now we'll get to see what the big dark secret is. Up here, you actually do have to examine the hole in the floor before you can set this board down. Pretty much anytime you're like moving an object, you have to look at the thing beforehand, where the object's going to go. You have to examine that spot, otherwise you can't do it. So the second statue that we ran past right there, that's actually where you find the Black Demon idol. The reason I'm telling you this right now is because I actually don't get it this run. I had to do the Scepter run instead. So here you actually have to examine the wall before you can move that card out of the way. And then after that, we're going to hit it with that 2x4 that's leaning up against that shelf over to the right. It's definitely annoying that Jennifer has to like walk back to the spot before you can actually click on the next puzzle piece. Another example of that. Here's the big dark secret I was talking about. You're going to find out in the moment who that skeleton in the corner is. This game definitely gives off cheesy B movie vibes, but I gotta admit though, that's a pretty touching moment right there. The reason I was refreshing my stamina again right there is because there's a real small chance that Bobby can actually spawn in this room right here, and it basically is game over if that happens. You have a small chance of doing a panic event, but ultimately it's tough to get past him right there. I was really frustrated the first time I played this because that happened to me. So if you have stamina and you do go into the panic sequence, you at least have a chance of getting by him. But most of the time, it's usually just game over if he spawns right there. So what we're doing now is we're heading back over to the east building because we have to get a golden key that's in a freezer full of insects. That's why we grabbed the insecticide earlier. A major complaint about this game is that the environments kind of all look the same and it's easy to get lost, which I definitely agree. I remember the first time playing this. A game that only takes roughly about a half hour ends up taking probably a good 5 or 6 hours your first time through just because of how confusing it can be to navigate the buildings. Moving down the stairs is definitely quicker than going up them. Jennifer moves a lot quicker going down them than she does going up. Okay, so we're going to take out the insecticide and do some extermination. So an easy way to tell if you have the black scepter to get instead of the black demon idol is this door right here. If you can't open it, that means you have the scepter. If you can open it, that means you have the black demon idol. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go upstairs instead. Nothing really changes too significantly as far as those rooms. It's just one is on the bottom floor, one is on the top floor, depending on again what item you have to go for. So this is actually the second time that I meet Bobby again. As you can tell, the music's playing. And I actually never encountered him here in the original game, so I was kind of curious what happened. I heard him actually going up the stairs, so I wanted to wait real quick. I actually cut a little bit of it out, but yeah, he actually does go up the stairs. I didn't know he could do that. I thought that was a really neat addition. I just get my stamina real quick here because I'm going to do a panic event coming up here. So we're gonna go into this room right here, and we're gonna grab the insecticide that we didn't pick up earlier. We picked up one can, but there's actually another can, and we have a panic event, so I'm hitting the panic button here. And when he comes in, you throw the insecticide at him. And does it work? Well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, it does. So the room that wasn't on the bottom floor that usually is this room right here. It was just moved to the top floor since we're going for the scepter. We're going to look in this wine glass, and there's going to be another key down there that's actually going to unlock the first door that we tried earlier. It's a silver key this time instead of the gold key. A neat thing that can happen is that if you examine that armor up in the upper left, sometimes Laura's actually in there. It's like her lifeless body. I don't know if like Bobby killed her and just like stuffed her body in there, but it's definitely a jump scare when you first experience it. For me, that's part of the magic of this game is just all the different things that can happen. It just offers so much replay value. That and all the endings that are on this game too. One thing you're going to notice when I go into this room is I'm going to look lost, and well, that's because I am. I haven't done the scepter run in so long. Every time I was practicing, it was always the Black Demon idol. So I do spend probably a little bit longer in here than I otherwise normally would have because I forgot what to do for the scepter run. I actually had to pause this and look it up real quick. What you're supposed to do right here is you're supposed to look at that drawing that's on the wall. Jennifer will be like, oh, I can't see the whole thing. So then you have to push the bookshelf over and then examine it again. The reason I was looking at those shelves earlier, the ones that the books are on too, is because that's actually where you get the information where the Black Demon idol is. Again, I got confused. I haven't done the scepter run in so long. I was just clicking over there, being like, come on, where is it? Because I thought I was still doing the Black Demon idol run. But then it occurred to me, I'm like, oh my god, I think I got the scepter run. So it occurred to me that I actually had to go examine this. Examining this desk gives us a little foreshadow into Bobby's weakness. I try to examine these books one more time. I think I was just like in disbelief in the fact I just didn't want to do the scepter run because I didn't do it for so long. It wasn't really at this point that I stopped and paused it. It was a little bit ahead. I'll point out when I do. But I was really worried, like, oh no, did this run just get ruined because I was in the middle of recording it? Luckily, there was one thing I did remember about these scepter run, and that's the fact that it was in the other building, so I knew to run back over there at least. So right here is where I actually saved the game to go look to see where the scepter was. Luckily, this game has a save feature because I actually couldn't find exactly where the scepter was, like on any of the walkthroughs. So I actually had to do it myself. I actually had to look in each room to find where it was, and luckily I did. But thank God for that save feature that they added into this remaster because it definitely saved this run. So the scepter is on the first floor. You have to go down these stairs, and then it's going to be in, I believe, the second room. And then you have to look behind a curtain. Then she'll be like, "Oh, a cane!" Oh, and it's actually a scepter that you need for the ritual room to get the staircase or the ladder case, or I don't know what the heck it is. The thing you go down the ladder on. It's used to get that open. Okay, I lied. It was in the first room. All right, so now that we got the cane, we're actually going to head to the ritual room to stick the cane. We got to stick it in the vase, and it opens up, I'm just going to call it the drop-off, the thing where the ladder goes. And now we head down the drop-off. It makes you wonder, like, how many people were actually down here, because seeing that cult member, it definitely gets you thinking, like, what? There's more than just Miss Burrows and Bobby Burrows? They got a pooch over there, so we're going to need the black robe. And I tried to put it on right here, but I failed. The dog growls at us, and now I can put it on. And then this is where you need the perfume also. That way you smell like Mrs. Burrows. That must be Mrs. Burrows' dog. Yeah, we only need it for like 2 seconds, and then Jennifer just throws it away. I don't think she realizes how expensive that perfume was, or even how expensive that robe was. Over here, we actually find out what happens to Lottie. They were performing some sort of like Satan ritual on her. Another pretty touching moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I very well could be wrong. But if you don't go to Lottie here and you just go straight into the cave, that's a little bit back here a ways. I think you just die in the elevator then. I forgot which ending that is, but yeah, Bobby Burrows, I think, just breaks into the elevator and kills you right away. So I don't remember having to hit this switch in the original, but here you actually have to like hit this elevator switch. I did the first time I played this, I tried to turn on the elevator. I'm like, why isn't it working? So I ran back here and I looked around. I'm like, oh, is that the elevator switch? And sure enough, it was. You actually can't turn it on right there. You actually have to go to the elevator first after after this Dan Burrows boss fight. You actually have to go to the elevator. Try it. She says it doesn't work, and then you have to run back and press it. Catch my breath for a second. Oh, he's gorgeous. So one problem I've actually been running into this port so far, I don't know if it's a problem with the game in general, like the original release or not. I don't remember having a problem with it when I first played it on like the original consoles. But sometimes the panic events like don't work. Like you don't get that flashing blue and red like down on the left hand of the screen. You'll see it here in a sec. Sometimes it just flat out didn't work. I haven't had a problem since. Like it's worked basically since the first time it's happened. But it is worth pointing out though. That's like legit the luckiest turn of events I've ever seen. So again, I try to turn on the elevator right here, but Jennifer just goes, oh, you actually do have to like hit the buttons on the elevator for this to actually work. It's a little bit obnoxious, but I suppose that's the way it is in First Fear, though. Again, I don't remember having to do it in the original release. This cutscene right here is actually exclusive to First Fear. This is Edward being born, aka Dan Burrows basically being resurrected. Basically, his body rises up from the ashes. That wasn't in the original release. Yeah, so we're gonna hit the button. Jennifer will be like, "Oh, it's not working," and then that's when we actually run back out and turn on the generator. Like I said, definitely an obnoxious added element, I would say. I'm not actually sure what happens, like, if you stay in this cave for too long. I don't know if it just, like, collapses and you die, or if it just, nothing ever happens. You could probably just sit in there forever and it'll just, keep rocking, but I don't know. I've never actually tried it. We're gonna go ahead and go to the second floor because it adds a more epic ending. This is where also one of the endings can happen too. Bobby Burrows can come out of that vent right there and kill you, and then the game will end. Definitely make sure you recover some stamina right here because there's going to be a few different panic events. This next room, Mrs. Burrows is going to be in there. She's going to be like, "Oh, you've been a bad girl." We're going to get into a little bit of a fist fight. We're going to push her down and just run up to the clock tower. This is why you want your stamina up just a little bit more, because after this one, you're going to have one more panic event. As soon as we get over here, Jennifer's going to be like, "Oh my god, where do I go?" And then she sees the ladder and goes up it, and that's when Mrs. Burrows chases up here. And you can actually see Bobby right behind her. I think you can actually see him right here. Yeah, see, there he is. He comes in like right at the end. Another panic event right here. So what's going to happen is Jennifer's going to finish climbing up there. She's going to go into the clock tower. Bobby's going to rush in after us, be like, "You killed my mom and my brother." And he comes after us, but luckily we know his weakness, and that's the bells in the clock tower. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Clock Tower, released in 1995. Sorry, I can't remember the exact day it came out. Yeah, sorry, I skipped the credits. I figured you guys didn't want to watch them. I said it before, but I'll say it again. You guys need to buy this remaster based off the intro alone. The intro was amazing. You could literally sit here all day watching this over and over again and never get bored of it. Nah, I'm just joking. If you buy this for just for the intro, you're gonna feel ripped off. Okay, so guys, I really am sorry, but I actually do have the credits. I'm sorry I keep lying to you guys. If you get offended by this, I truly do apologize. But as far as the outro goes, I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched this video. It's really awesome that we finally have this game released over in the West. And if you guys haven't played it yet, definitely check it out. It really is worth the investment. I would say the sequel that came out a year later is probably a little bit better. But ultimately, this one's still definitely worth the purchase, so definitely go for it. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next vid.